Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a great audience. Thank you, Father, for the day. And I am so thrilled that Becky Helms is joining us today. I have been a fan of Becky's from afar for many, many years. I was just telling her that the first time she caught my eye is we were at a charity event at a Nick Finnegan Counseling Center gala, and she was kind of doing a fun back and forth with her dad, who was working his magic there. And I thought, now that is a cool girl right there. And this is many years later. I've continued to be a fan. And Becky's going to talk with us today about getting your spark back. I'm going to let her even I mean, it's just amazing. She has been a nurse, a caregiver. She's an incredible friend and daughter, and she might not know it, but a huge public figure and entertainer, if you will. So I'm sure that she is, there might be better ways to introduce Becky, but I'm introducing her as someone that I admire and look up to. And I feel like she has a lot to share with us about getting your spark back. Becky, welcome. Thank you for being here. And take
Thank
us
you
on
for
a bird's eye
having me.
view. Oh, are you kidding? I'm thrilled
Yeah.
you're here. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you reaching out because this is so exciting. I love doing podcasts, helping people when I can, trying to bring inspiration, hope, whatever it may be. So if you are wondering what she's talking about, I developed a small following on Instagram. I would say it started probably around COVID. I'm a nurse, and I was one of the TikTok nurses who just was posting videos for therapy and things like that. Gained a following. And then about 3 years, 2 years later, I got diagnosed with cancer. So actually, 3 years ago this week, December 20th, 2022, 2021, 3 years ago, yeah. Um, I noticed my eyelid was kind of drooping, and a lot of my Instagram followers were kind of like, hey, maybe you should get that checked out. Of course, nurses make the worst patients. And I was kind of like, yeah, I'll get it checked out. So I went to the eye doctor, which I have perfect vision. I don't wear glasses. I just am a good patient and followed up and get my eyes checked annually because I'm getting older. Uh, so I was basically, long story short, after thousands of dollars worth of tests, I was admitted to the hospital and they found a tumor in my chest that they ended up having to remove, which is kind of what this scar is right here. And I was in the hospital for a week. I was in the ICU. I had a breathing tube, all chest tubes, all the fun stuff that I deal with on a day to day basis with my patients. Um, and 6 weeks of chemo. Um, Lost all my hair, which was quite a journey, and just just kind of sucked. But made it through, and yeah, as of November, was my last PET scan. We are still cancer free. So it's something to celebrate for sure. Yes. It was Hodgkin's lymphoma. Sorry, I don't think I said that. So it's a blood cancer of your lymphatic system. And they work a lot with leukemia and lymphoma. They're kind of sister cancer or brother cancers, whatever you want to call it. Um, so it was quite a journey becoming a patient with all the knowledge I have from a nursing side and from a hospital side. So that was quite a journey. But yeah, it's been 3 years now, and I kind of just want to help people, give them hope and get through the post cancer life, because that is a journey in itself as well.
Yeah, unbelievable, first of all. I can't imagine the switch going from the nurse caregiver to the patient.
Hmm.
I can believe that you weren't a great patient.
Yeah.
And but it has to be weird to have all, like you said, you have so much information.
Hmm. Yeah, it was almost like I knew too much, and it was a pro and a con. A con because I kind of knew, if I didn't get this CAT scan done today, I wasn't going to have answers. So I was being an advocate for myself. I was, because the doctors only round in the morning, and then I wouldn't get the test results till later. And it was almost Christmas. So I was like, I want to get out of here. Um, and, you know, just really learning when you're in the hospital, like how vulnerable it can be and how truly at the hands of other people you are. I know everyone knows that. But I really had to learn to like let go of control, which is not easy for a lot of people, specifically women and specifically a OCD type A registered nurse like myself. Um, so that was something I had to kind of give and provide my faith and put put it in his hands because I did not have any control.
Unbelievable. Just recently, we've been talking a lot about surrendering and different things we have to surrender. And it's not surrendering to something, but you practice surrendering the control to him in order to move forward, I guess, in freedom, and to trust the process and to trust him. Yeah. How, and I want to get to post all of this and talk about getting your spark back. But last question. Well, first of all, thank you, Father, that you're clear and that you have
Yes. Whew.
survived in such an incredible way. So I'm so grateful for that. And the next part of it, so your faith played, it sounds like, a pretty huge part of your journey.
Yeah, I would say my faith, I grew up going to a Methodist church. It's definitely not where I want it to be as far as um, goals and day to day practice, but I believe in kind of living a Christian lifestyle and being kind, helping those in need, and being inclusive and say my prayers and saying thank you and giving back to my community. I think are important. Um, but it really came into play. There were a lot of things that I like to call God winks, like a wink, um, that happened throughout the journey that we're kind of not able to explain, um, other than a divine intervention of some sort. So I
Wow.
think it's important to know that even if you believe or don't believe, there's definitely something um, pulling some strings in a different. So
Well,
um, and
there,
it's sad it took I wouldn't say near death, but I it was scary. My surgery didn't go as planned. That's why they had to cut my chest open. That wasn't the original plan.
mm,
Um, so, it is, I would guess I would say near death experience or journey of getting a diagnosis. The C word, cancer, is really scary for anyone. A lot of
yeah.
people have lost their lives to cancer. So it's scary. And, we're in a world now where everyone knows someone who's had cancer or has or lost their battle with it. So um, it's just
Mm,
scary. But
yes.
I
Well,
think,
that
yeah.
you sure do that. I mean, you're right here sharing hope and inspiration and information. And so thank you for doing that.
And something I like to talk about is the biggest thing that got me through all of this, I think, was my humor. Um, and not a lot of people can make light of something so serious, but it's my personality. Um, because my quote that I love is, "We laugh so we don't cry." And that started from being a nurse, because I worked in the liver transplant ICU. Now I'm in education. I've kind of retired from the bedside. Um, but I saw a lot of death, a lot of really sad cases as well as happy ones, but definitely in ICU, you see a lot of sad stuff. So I would always say we laugh so we don't cry. It's darkened my humor. But I think if you've met any nurse, they're a little crazy. All of us, we're a special breed. Um, but trying to find humor in the serious things, and something also that they don't really talk about is the support and love you feel from the people around you, like people coming out of the woodworks, and then also the sad truth of learning the people who maybe didn't reach out as much, who you thought would have been more present during that journey. And that's also part of life. It ebbs and flows. Your friendships change, your relationships change. So I think that's just part of growing. But yeah, the humor definitely helped. I was very open about my journey on my social media page, and that provided a community. I know not everyone sees social media as a positive, because it can be addicting, doom scrolling, comparing yourselves, the comparison game to others. But I found a community of other cancer survivors or people that were like, I was just diagnosed, my sister was just diagnosed. Or, they were 6 months or a year behind me, and they were able to kind of follow my journey, whether it's something as little as like your energy or your hair growth. I still get stories in my messages every day about how my journey helped someone or them or in their kind of crazy, unbelievable to be honest.
I'm I'm telling you, I
So
am was a fan before and then followed and thought, and I love the humor part.
yeah,
I think laughter, whether it's from a darker side of humor to something very light, there's nothing like it. It's very healing. And you're kind of sharing that it helped. Well, let me
yeah. I
ask you a
mean, there were,
question.
yeah.
I mean, well, I come from a family that I think most people would say we have inappropriate laughter, you know, but in very serious times. However,
Mhm.
it was, and I love that. Say the quote one more time, laughter instead of tears.
Laugh so we don't cry.
Laugh so we don't
So
cry. Thank you for that.
yeah,
Well, here we are, and you're here and clear and your beautiful in and out self. Tell us a bit about, getting that spark back. You get to the other side and yay, clear and hoping for continued clear reports. Talk to us about the energy and picking back up and going full force into life.
I think one of the hardest parts about the post cancer journey is the amount of phone calls and expectations of, like, I remember I rang the bell on like a Tuesday and I had to go back to work, and I was just like, I just had this monumentous moment. And next thing I know, I'm like on a Teams meeting that afternoon, um, which was kind of anticlimactic. But getting through cancer and the journey is going through milestones. And so once all that stops, like, I've got two more rounds and then a scan. I've got one more round and then a scan. Okay, I've got my scan today. Now I'm done. I can ring the bell. I'm cancer free. And all of a sudden it just kind of stops. And you go back and you're kind of like, what was my life like pre-cancer? Because everything's kind of changed at that point. Um, you feel like a different person because of the journey you just went on. Um, I also, it was a wake up call for me. I was pretty overweight before when I was diagnosed, and chemo helped. I wouldn't recommend that for weight loss, but it,
I mean, there you
it,
go. Talk about laughter. Right.
yeah, it definitely helped. Me kind of realize how unhealthy I was, and it was a wake up call. So I knew getting back into exercise and eating right was something I prioritized. I've been in therapy forever. So I kept doing that. Mental health is really important. And some of the things I found that helped with that were my de-stressors or the things that I had to make a priority. One of which is exercise, and I do it for my mental health. Um, the weight loss and the aesthetics of it just kind of come. Um, so that was one of the biggest things because I mean, I was bald. I had no eyebrows, I had no hair. Um, I have some funny pictures we can show you later. But at one point, I looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Um,
There you go.
I thought I still had hair, and I look back now, and my friends, and I'm like, why didn't you say anything? And they're like, it was your journey. Like, we could not tell you that because you could have taken it the wrong way. And I was like, okay, that's fair. But something about as a woman, and I know like men could have the same experience, and men do experience baldness, but something about a woman, I'm like, my nickname was Becky with the good hair pre-cancer. I mean, I still have great hair now,
Yeah.
but losing your hair, that was a big part of your identity. And so you kind of had to make yourself shine in other ways. And that's where my personality kind of came into play. And I was like, I just wanted to kind of get back to feeling normal and going on trips. I traveled. I pretty much burned all of my vacation days in span of a month because I was like, I almost died. Let's live it up, right? Um, but yeah, going back to work felt weird. So I was just trying to find joy outside of work. I very much live to travel, not like, or live to live, not, what is the saying? Like,
Work to live, not live to work.
correct, correct. I fully believe using the PTO, your job will be there when you get back. I know I'm a nurse, I'm a warm body, I'm replaceable, but I thought the world was going to fall apart when I was out sick, and it did not. Everyone kept moving on just fine. Um, so, you know, you got to take care of yourself. You got to prioritize yourself. I'm also a unique case. I don't have kids. So I had to kind of find a different motivation to get myself out of a funk. Like a lot of people can say, I need to better myself so I can be a better mom, or better myself so I can, you know, take care of my sick husband, whatever it may be. So I kind of was like, I need to be a better version of myself for me. Um,
Mm.
and some would say that's selfish, but you just have to kind of take the time to heal, take the time to kind of rediscover yourself after cancer. And for me, that's traveling, whether it London, Italy, or just like going to the hill country for a weekend, or going to the spa, or just going on a road trip, something to get you out of your normal routine to kind of rediscover. And it took a while, you know, especially with the working out, the exercising. It was very humbling. I was very deconditioned. I lost a lot of muscle, and you know, I used to be able to squat this much, and I could barely like do a squat with my body weight. So that has been really fun to see progress,
Mm.
putting in the hard work and seeing that progress. I think there's a lot to be said about exercise, and everyone makes it seem like it's so hard, but just showing up and being consistent, whether it's the best workout of your life or a walk for 10 minutes on the treadmill, it's about consistency and prioritizing yourself and making a commitment to yourself, I think was really important.
That's so interesting that, and I think so many people in the audience need to hear this. I know I do. It is about you figured out I do need to prioritize myself, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this good part about realizing, oh gosh, people, the hospital was still running.
Yeah.
However, on the other side of that, and this keeps coming into my mind, is ringing of the bell. You had completed this seemingly insurmountable time of healing, and then you went back to work, like that day, that afternoon. I've always wondered about that. I guess sometimes certainly you felt like, I wish the world would stop while this is going on so I can.
Right. And to your point, one of the things that this cancer kind of support group and my oncology nurses that I talked with who deal with cancer patients, because oncology was not my specialty, I was like, what's the best way to normalize your life when you feel like crap? Um, but it was picking, I knew like the week I got chemo is the week I felt the best. It was the week after that I felt the worst. So in the week that I felt the best, I would make plans, I would see my friends, I would go play with my nieces, knowing that on Thursday of the second week, I'm going to have to stay home. I'm going to have to rest. And that kind of helped me still live this normal life when I was not living a normal life. And going to work, I know I say like you don't work to live, but that was a normalcy that I could keep up with. And I had the ability to sit at my desk, try and do some work. And then if I felt sick, I could go home and I could be exhausted, but it was still like that commitment of like, let's at least get out of bed today. That helps with your depression. That helps with your anxiety, getting up, getting dressed. If you stay in the house for too long, no matter how bad you feel, that's not good for anyone. So it provided some normalcy, but it just was a little weird. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just go back to my office now.
Yeah. I mean, okay, that happened. I mean, I just can't even imagine. Well, tell me about this because first of all, very good for everyone to know that having any type of normalcy throughout is helpful.
Yeah,
And just to
that's my cat.
get out of your house when you can. I love that. I love that the cats are back there. Well, let me ask you a question. So when did you say, okay, not only am I just going to go with this, okay, I guess that happened and I'm now back at work. Did you immediately or throughout this process, there was this, on the other side of this, I'm going to travel more. I love that you say take the PTO. You've told me that before, and I've quoted you quite a few times. And I think that you just knew, okay, on the other side of this, I'm taking the PTO. I'm going to work when I need to work, but I am going to
Yeah.
get out there, travel, do whatever I want to do, what I've wanted to do and haven't done.
You have to kind of compartmentalize. Like, yes, I need to work to pay the bills, but I also need to live a life that's not just a slave to your job, sitting in traffic, commuting, like the Houston traffic. It sucks my soul every day. The 5 o'clock traffic, which so I for 13 years I worked 12-hour shifts. So I didn't have this 9 to 5 life Monday through Friday for 13 years, which everyone's like, oh, poor you, you only work 3 days a week. Well, they were 12-hour shifts. It was pretty exhausting. But I got to go to work at 6 and come home at 7:38. So I missed this rush hour. And
Yeah.
I just was like, this, I can't be living for the weekends anymore. I have to find something that brings me joy during the week
Yeah.
to give me something to look forward to. I still hate Mondays. I will always hate Mondays, but um traveling, like a lot of people are homebodies. Maybe they don't want to travel, but it's taking the PTO day to have a reset, your mental health day or something. Like it doesn't necessarily mean you need to travel, but taking a break, sleeping in, having a slow morning with coffee, going to the grocery store at 10 a.m., not at the 5 p.m. rush, like just taking a day or two to reset. And then maybe if you don't like to travel, maybe try it again because it's so fun.
It is fun, right? I didn't start till I was old.
I'm an extrovert, but I do have a social battery that can run out and then I need to recharge. Um, but I love different cultures, seeing the world, different foods. I love meeting new people. I think that you just learn so much about the world and kindness and that at the end of the day, we're all just humans, and it would a little bit of empathy would go a long way, is what I've learned
Little
from my experience.
empathy will go a long way. And really, there's this beautiful, and I'm going to send it to you when I find it, but there's this beautiful quote. And to wrap it up, it is about, you had said earlier you felt like doing things for yourself and caring for yourself and prioritizing yourself sounds selfish. And I wonder if people think that anymore, because it turns out taking care of yourself is really a gift to others, so that when we help others, it's such a gift to ourselves. And
You can,
I think it's tricky how that is.
yeah. Um, I completely agree. You can't give from an empty cup. So whether that's being a mom, whether that's being a friend, um, you know, you gotta be able to show up with a full cup. And that is where prioritizing and taking care of yourself. And it's so much easier said than done because life just starts happening. But taking a step back and kind of reevaluating, why am I so tired this week? Like, what have I been doing? And if it's like you just need a day, cancel your meetings, get a babysitter for the kids, do something to kind of reevaluate because I don't know, you got to kind of take some time to recharge because you can't give from an empty cup.
Right. Well, you said something so important. You kind of have to evaluate. You don't have to, but we're suggesting an important pause. Why am I so
Mhm.
exhausted? What did I do? And what do I need to do? And I think that sometimes we're conditioned to just go and go and go and go, and it's great, but then you're slammed against the wall and you're like, well, how did that even happen? And to your point, sometimes it's easier said than done to slow down, evaluate, how am I feeling? Am I exhausted? Am I on? I mean, sometimes I think we're completely missing what's even going on in each present moment because we're thinking about the next moment.
Going through the motions. Yeah, I completely agree.
Unbelievable. Well, Becky, so I
Yeah.
love that. And I know that we're going to, in my mind, run out of time here. I really, is there a message, a couple of questions? I'm going to throw them out and then ask you to share something that you could share with those that are supporting those that are now on the other side or during or, working to get their spark back, for those that love and want to support and want to be there and don't know what to do and how to support.
My first piece of advice for the people going through the treatment are or you're supporting someone going through the treatment is asking them when their next milestone is, whether it's their next chemo, their next scan, whatever it may be, next doctor's appointment, and put it in your calendar. Put it in your phone, set a reminder the day of, the afternoon of to reach out and text just so they know that you're thinking of them.
Mm,
It can feel really lonely. So, the biggest thing is if you try to remember, you're not going to. So putting it in your calendar or setting a reminder is a really big tip. Um, and then also just not asking, how are you doing? What do you need? Just kind of showing up, putting food at the door, um, paying paying for a housekeeper 1 week for them. Those are really
mm,
good ways. Um, and then for the person who needs to find their spark again, first off, I would recommend therapy. They can really help you work through some of the trauma with your
hmm
journey because it is traumatic. Like, no, we didn't go to war, but I sure as hell went to battle
hmm
against a really nasty thing. So the trauma, getting through that, and then finding little things that bring you joy and giving yourself grace for
hmm
not feeling like yourself again. It took me a good 6 months to a year to kind of feel normal again. And it's confusing. It's very confusing. So just understanding it's going to take a while and giving yourself grace, not being too hard on yourself when you're struggling or you're exhausted, your body's gone through a lot. So just be patient and then just keep talking about it. Be an advocate for others. And I always push go to your doctor's appointments, listen to your body. Um, I still have friends that don't have a PCP, which is like a primary care doctor. They're like, well, my OB-GYN does all my labs. I'm like, it's time. We are over 35 now. It's time we see someone to manage the little things. And someone you can call if you're having an issue that you have established a relationship with. If they get to know you while you're healthy, they will understand you more when you are not healthy.
Woo, that's huge.
Yeah. So those are
That
that's my overall advice is
I
everyone
love.
baseline physician at this point. If you're over the age, honestly, I would say if you're over the age of 30, it's time to find a primary care physician.
I mean, seriously, and I'm a nobody wants to go to the doctor.
No,
I
it's
mean, it's not
terrible.
that's it's terrible, but at some point in every area of our lives, health being number one, we've
Yeah.
got to be accountable as best we can.
Yes.
I
You
mean,
got some responsibility. Yeah.
yeah, okay, so tell me this. Now that I see, I get to watch you out and about a little bit and I love it and I've seen you on a few of your trips and what's your next travel? I hope, do you always have something on the books, I would hope?
I try. I'm literally feeling suffocated right now because I'm kind of running low on vacation days, which again, everyone will roll their eyes at me. Um, but I don't have any international trips planned. I would love to go back to Asia. I went to Singapore and Bali this summer, which was incredible. But
Wow.
I'm going to Jackson Hole in Wyoming in February with some girlfriends. And then I'll probably head down to Mexico once or twice in the spring with friends and just really rough life I'm leading.
I mean, yeah,
I
you're
just
gonna have to go
I
ahead. I
don't
guess
apologize.
you're gonna
I
have to
don't
have
apologize.
a travel blog or something. I have never. Um, I I really and truly I so appreciate it because and I don't know when and of course all the ways to follow Becky and all the things will be posted here and do yourself a favor,
Yeah.
follow. But would they I'm hoping people would be able to kind of scoot back if they wanted to dive into some of your incredible sharing
Yeah.
along the
I
way.
have a lot of I've got some highlights which are the for my mother's generation that don't understand. It's the little bubbles at the top of the page. And then there's a couple that are pinned, like the week I found out and then ringing the bell. So it kind of is the full story. And I look a little different in those videos. So you'll see the change. I was a brunette before and now I'm a blonde and I'm having a great time.
Which is the main thing, be present. I feel like you have reiterated some truths to having
Mhm.
spark in our lives, regardless of what we're on the other side of. And that is
Yeah.
take the PTO,
Hmm.
have joy in the week, not just on the weekends. You know, therapy, a good thing for everyone. And just like your doctor, the primary care doctor that everyone's going to go out and get now. But if they know you healthy, it's the same with your therapist, right? If you have this relationship, then they can really see what you're trying to share that you need to
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Oh, Becky, I mean, this hopeful, inspiring, kind, all the things, that's what you're doing. And this is a conversation that I know is going to help everyone, personally, professionally, on every level, spiritually, I love that part of it. That
Hmm.
you love living a certain way of life by being kind and inspiring and helping. And I know you've done that today, and I so appreciate it.
Yeah. I think just learning to be a yes person. And I say that I am okay and give myself permission to say no. That is my yes. if I'm tired and that my friends are going to forgive me if I cancel a dinner plan or because if I just need to recharge, I don't think you need to apologize for that. But also say yes to some things that might make you uncomfortable because you just never know.
You just never know. I love that's how we're going to. Audience, thank you for being here. Follow along. Let's all try to, I'm going to try to do a little better today just from this conversation, Becky. And I so appreciate you. I can't wait. Let's have another and congratulations, 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, wow, right? I
Oh,
think I
woohoo.
I think you need to, whoever is the boss of your PTO, you might say, coming up on 3 years, need a couple extra days.
I'll write a letter. We'll see what
Thank
happens.
you, Father. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, audience. Hook 'em, and I'll talk to you soon, Becky.
Okay, bye, y'all.